everyone, I am Shaktivel, Assistant Professor, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore, and today we are going to see about the city car design by Gordon Murray. Gordon Murray is known principally as a racing car designer, but for many years he nursed a very different concept of what a car could be, a small, cheap city car. After he left McLaren, he began developing of this very different kind of a car in his own design company. The resulting concept was finally announced in the 2008 as the T25 city car, and the first prototype was built in 2010. The T25 is a very practical urban use vehicle that can carry a driver with two passengers or a large amount of luggage or a shopping, and it is a light and agile with a good performance and a low fuel consumption, and occupies one-third of the road or a parking space of a conventional car. However, Gordon Murray motivation for designing the T25 was not so much the economic and the environmental advantages it might offer, but a desire to design an efficient small car that would be attractive and fun to drive and would radically impact the traffic problems such as the congestion. His aim was to develop not just a new type of car, but a new concept of a personal transport. Gordon Murray is famous for the racing car design. Just as his racing car design work, the city car is also designed from the first principles, and this is clear in some of the Gordon's earliest sketches for the car dating from the early 90s, in which he pays a special attention to that of the suspension systems. The suspension system is an important feature in early considerations because tall, narrow cars such as the T25 tend to roll sideways on the corners. In that, and that has to be countered in the suspension systems. And he also explained that for economy, I want to make a suspension with the least number of components and the moving parts. This has only three parts in a whole suspension systems, and the same kind of thinking is applied also, for example, to the initial fog eye headlamp design. It is not just styling, it's a practical point of view because I only want to have a one sub wiring loop for a cost. So I want to put the rear view mirror in the back of the light. So you have a headlamp, parking lamp, main beam, low beam, indicators, side repeater, heating element, adjusting element for the mirror, and the mirror on one subloop with a one plastic plug. So you have a one molded part that does all those things and all those functions. And this is the freehand sketch of the Gordon Murray of a T25 city car, and this is the overall concept of the car that has been hand drawn by the Gordon Murray in his rough book. And this is the very early sketch of a suspension and the other details that has been made in a pocket book around the same time as the concept of these sketches. And even the radical concepts such as an easy access, single lift up opening canopy rather than the side doors came from the same approach, and going from the 7 openings to the 5 make a car a lot cheaper and a more rigid and the lighter, and going from 5 to 3 and from 3 to 2 is a magic, and going down to 1 you can get any better, and you have got to get into the car. And so that short of this stuff you think about from the beginning, and that applies to the light, mirrors, instruments, wheel, brakes, and also the everything. The early wire and card markup for the city car showing the single opening canopy, and after producing the many dozens of small sketches of the details and concept over the several years and experimenting with the performance using the different engines in some existing small cars, the design work took a major step forward when the Gordon and his team built a very simple full-size mock-up of a car using the wire and the cardboard. And the final version of the city car bore a striking resemblance to that simple mock-up. The mock-up became a useful design tool, and it began to suggest some new possibilities. For example, Gordon's aerial idea for seating arrangement was for the two people sitting in a tandem, the passenger behind the driver. But when the mock-up was built, we discovered that you could quite easily with the same width of the motor car for a short journeys. You could take three people in it using a similar seating layout as in the of a McLaren's F1. Another cost-saving idea also arose from the exploring the mock-up when one of the team realized that the rear located engine could be accessed from inside the car, so avoiding the need of an external access. Gordon explained that at one stage we were looking at having to have a boot lid to access the engine until one of the guys said, "Come and look at this. If you stand in the car, you can open what is effectively your boot floor from the inside of the car, and you can get the oil and water and stuff from that. If you fold the seats flat, open the hatch in the floor, and you are there." And this is the first prototype version of the T25 city car. You can see the arrangements and the single lid opening of a car. That is the first version of the T25 city car. I hope you understand this video. Thank you.